The story begins with a lovely family scene in which the mother passes her newborn infant to the family maid, Malaria. Malaria takes the kid into her arms, hesitantly, and is told by the mother to take good care of a new family member. We are transported from this loving family to another universe, where Kamishiro Akira Sensei has just received the Daikusha Manga Award for his outstanding work this year. Akira is a well-known mangaka who rose to prominence at an early age. However, on his path to fame, he became arrogant and harsh to his assistant, losing friends and even his girlfriend. Nonetheless, he had no regrets about his acts. It was too late when he realized he was mistaken. However, just as Akira believes he is unbeatable, he receives dreadful news regarding his health: cancer of the blood. The shock is enough to make him nervous. Above that, he has only a few years left to live. What is he going to do now? When Akira remembers that he is scheduled to arrive with his family for the necessary treatment, his pain intensifies. But it's at that instant that it hits him. He is absolutely alone because no one cares about him. Akira is wallowing in shame because he made his life so meaningless by burying himself in achievement. Suddenly, he receives a phone call from his mother, pleading for money. Akira, on the other hand, is in desperate need of emotional assistance at this point. He informs his mother that he has blood cancer and that he has little time. He is so terrified that he needs her assistance and asks her to accompany him to the hospital. Although his mother agrees to come, she immediately asks the money. Akira is astounded to learn that his mother valued money more than her son's life even today. Finally, he has had enough and lashes out at his mother. However, a mother and her daughter suddenly appear in front of his automobile. To protect them, he reverses his automobile and is hit. In his final hours, he recalls his mother bringing him manga. It made him feel so joyful and cherished, and that's when he realized all of his celebrity was for naught. What he genuinely desired was a tranquil setting. Nonetheless, Akira awakens in a gloomy area, perplexed about the situation, until he discovers that he is dead and has the option of choosing a mother for his new existence. The screen shows 5 stunning women. Akira realizes he is about to be reborn and is offered the option of selecting a parent. And with all of these wealthy women surrounding him, he was certain to achieve fame and prosperity. These are the 2 things he despises the most, and he never wants to experience that hollow success and loneliness again. Fortunately, the 5th applicant is a commoner who can offer him a simple existence. As a result, Akira is born as the son of Diva Roland, the only daughter of a wizard. For the first time in a long time, he feels affection and warmth, and his mother greets him with a bright smile. Finally, Akira is given the opportunity to live in a calm environment with a loving family. Now, fast forward 7 years. The Rainford Magic Shop thrives in the royal capital, with a cheery mother and son greeting guests, and the 2 spend a nice, wholesome moment together. At home, Akira's father, Carl Rainford, arrives and embraces him warmly. As the boy is having the time of his life, he reflects on his background and tells himself to be nothing more than an ordinary guy so that he can enjoy being in his quiet environment. Furthermore, Akira's joy is multiplied when his father presents him with a delectable cake. But just then, his greatest foe prevents him from tasting the bite of joy. This monster is none other than the housemaid, Arya. She chastises Akira for skipping sword classes and chastises him for his lack of talent in sword combat and magic. However, the maid regards him as an enemy because she appears to be in love with Carl, according to Akira. Because his child from another woman is someone she will always dislike, she is constantly bullying him. As a result, as she grows up, Akira intends to exact revenge on her, but Arya spots him daydreaming during practice and smacks him. They then begin magical practice, and she instructs him to write healing chants on 5 scrolls by tomorrow morning. Scrolls are artifacts in this universe that may store magical power, and the magician can put magic in them by composing chants. Normally, writing on these takes a long time, but Akira has another brilliant idea. As a mangaka, he employs his great drawing abilities to draw an image on the scroll rather of writing, which achieves the same impact in far less time. Moreover, he becomes curious to try new things while using his secret idea. Hence, the next day, there's chaos outside as slime is summoned, thanks to Akira, who drew a monster on a blank magic circle he made on the lake. Figuring out that scroll cannot materialize a life form, but his magic circles can. The boy realizes his cheating skill is revolutionary, but he also knows that having an unusual talent can be costly, so he will hide this skill and live. Unfortunately, Arya is too smart, and she realizes that it's impossible to write so perfectly on the scrolls in such little time, so he should write them in front of her. She knows the boy has cheated, but is mad at him for lying and not admitting it. Suddenly, Akira's past trauma returns to him. He becomes scared of it repeating all over again, so instead of understanding Arya, he tells her she shouldn't be here and runs outside. Afterward, he reaches the lake and screams there, which makes him feel better, and he begins to realize that he should apologize to the maid as he goes overboard with her. However, just then, something happens, which would make him regret his behavior even more. Akira is attacked, but Arya saves him while letting herself get badly wounded. The attack is by a fierce dragon, Basilisk, and it's impossible to go against him, but Arya wants to save Akira so desperately, she begs him to run away while she becomes the bait for the dragon. The boy sits there shocked, asking her why Arya would sacrifice herself for someone she hates. But she tells him that's absurd, because she's his guardian and he's her family. It's her responsibility to protect him. Once again, Akira realizes how stupid he is to make such assumptions because his Arya isn't like others, as she's the one who always protected him. Unfortunately, they're in a grave situation, and Akira has to run to save himself, except he doesn't. Instead, he decides to find the courage and protect what's precious to him, including Arya. Using magic, Akira creates a large blank magic canvas, and after a few seconds of thinking, he decides to draw the basilisk dragon and quickly materializes a copy of it. The imitated dragon attacks the original basilisk dragon, and although Akira's magic is depleting, he pushes himself forward to defeat the enemy. Finally, the basilisk dragon is defeated, and Arya is saved. As the maid gets closer to the boy, she wonders how the son of commoners and a boy with no apparent talent can have such an exceptional power hidden inside. Meanwhile, Akira has fainted from overusing his magic. Arya picks him up with a face that seems to be more curious than ever. At their home, Akira finally wakes up after being in a coma for 3 days due to overusing his magic. His mom is overly joyed to see him happy and tells him that his father has gone to kill the drain bat, who sucked up his magic. Looking at Arya, the boy feels glad she's alive and realizes she lied to everyone about a drain bat so that his skill would stay hidden. Moreover, Carl worked hard to find and feed Akira a rare elixir to save him, while his mother stayed up looking after him for 3 days. Hearing this, the boy feels very guilty for worrying about his family so much, when he only wants to be their best son. Finally, Carl returns home after being exhausted from finding the drain bat, but once he sees Akira to be awake, he finally relaxes and faints on the spot. At night, the secret genius is unable to sleep from exhaustion, as he was saved from the brink of death because if a person's magical powers reach 0, they die. Therefore, he was only saved due to the elixir. Suddenly, Arya enters the room to check up on Akira as he is groaning in pain, and she gets worried seeing that his face is getting red. Little does she know he's red due to seeing her in that see-through nightgown. Since the boy stops Arya from waking up Diva, Arya gets into the bed with him instead to help him circulate magic inside his body. While wrapped up in her arms, Akira instantly begins to feel warm and comforted. This was a soft side of his maid, and he had never seen this side of her. Afterward, Akira confronts her about her romantic feelings towards his father and apologizes for not respecting those feelings. However, the boy is absolutely embarrassed when Arya reveals that she never loved Carl. He's only an employer and a friend to him. On the other hand, there is someone else that she wishes to be with. It's Akira. Arya is well aware that Carl would never desire someone like her, But Akira is unique. Someone the entire world would want because, at such a young age, he summoned a massive monster that will only get stronger. She's not fit to parent someone so extraordinary, but she can't help but expect me to be with him. Hearing this, Akira feels concerned that his abilities may be revealed. He's considering an excuse to provide her for keeping his power hidden. Just then, Akira is able to justify his desire to remain low-key so that he can enjoy his life with his parents and operate the magic shop, rather than being exposed as a summoner and working for the nobles. He begs Arya not to inform anyone in order for him to live in peace. Akira is confident that he has put on a convincing performance, but the maid is fixated on consulting with his father, as he is the one who decides his son's future. However, another opportunity knocks on Akira's door when Era declares her desire to be his woman so she won't be a servant and can do anything he wants. It takes a while, but the boy realizes she's asking for marriage. As a result, Akira vows to marry her when he is an adult, but only on the condition that she keep his abilities a secret, and that if she breaks the contract, the marriage would be annulled. The following day, Arya trains Akira to further investigate his summoning powers. She explains that a summoner must first form a contract with their summon before the monster will follow them. However, because he possessed a cheat code, the child did not do anything like make a contract. All he had to do was visualize what he wanted to summon and pour magic into his fingertips, and the summon would materialize. Arya is utterly taken aback once more. She has never heard of summoning without a contract, but she lends him her power and begs that he create an advanced golem, a highly difficult creature to call due to magic resistance. While Akira is attempting to summon it, Arya wonders whether there is any chance he might summon him. Surprisingly, the clever youngster draws the drawing perfectly and summons the golem without any contract. Arya is utterly taken aback. All she can think about is how this small youngster defied the laws of the universe. At the same time, Akira's power frightens Arya since it has the potential to destroy the planet if it falls into the wrong hands. As a result, she makes him vow to only show his skills to others when she fully comprehends them. Following that, Arya returns to ruthlessly training swordsmanship Akira, who is not really interested in sword fighting but is required to learn it by his teacher. After completing his training, the boy draws the elixir and drinks it, regaining all of his magical abilities. Unlike the poor adventurers who rarely get their hands on it, Akira can easily manufacture and drink it indefinitely, albeit he must still feel an enhancement in his magical powers. As a result, he tries firewood splitting to increase his magical limit, although he appears to be terrible at it. But then he hears a child's voice taunting him and changing the subject to ask him about the scroll. However, the girl terrified Akira since she approached him so silently that he didn't detect her, but what worried him more was whether he noticed his secret skill. The adorable girl is intrigued by Akira's seemingly unique gift, but he is able to divert her attention and change the subject. The female then tries to assist him by showing him how to use a sword. She performs a demonstration by swiftly cutting a wood thrown at her, which astonishes Akira because she does it so exactly with a movement he's never seen before. She's clearly a pro. She presents herself as Midas Blinstard, son of Count Blinstard, and expresses her interest in him. Nobody could have predicted this trap, not even Akira, who was surprised to discover he was a boy. He was so cute, he looked like a female. The reincarnated youngster reveals himself after nearly dying of shame, and because Midas is so nice, the two end up becoming good friends. Akira informs him about the city, and the nobleman recommends they meet again tomorrow so he may teach him sword fighting. After a few days, Akira and Arya are bathing together, and the small boy, much older than he appears, is too nervous to bathe with a beautiful elf and is attempting to get out and wash alone. The elf inquires about a book, arguing that it is impossible to summon non-living objects, but she is unaware that Akira can. Furthermore, they explain the high-level creatures referenced in the book and warn him that attempting to call such a monster without aid can cause him to exhaust his magic and kill him, so he must refrain from doing so. Furthermore, she tells him of a fabled warrior known as God of War, who is born of a goddess and specializes in swordsmanship, has boundless magic, and his red eyes serve as his identification. This red-eyed hero is the most powerful of all. Sounds interesting, but it's not what Akira aspires to be. Carl gets home after a long day, but he appears concerned because the city is in danger, because an evil cult is snatching youngsters and is said to be using them as sacrifices. He warns Akira not to go to any secluded areas since he is worried about him. Following that, the child and Midis continue to play and battle with their swords, but Akira cannot land a single blow on that amazing young aristocrat. While taking a break, Akira informs Midis that an evil cult is snatching children, which is dangerous, and that they should return home since he is afraid of such people. Midis, on the other hand, is enraged to learn about the cult and believes that because he is strong, it is his duty to aid others. On the contrary, Akira completely disagrees with him, claiming that a talented person exerting himself for others will only make him lose in vain. Hearing this, Midis becomes upset and walks away to return home. Despite Akira following him, he's unable to see her anymore and starts to feel unconscious. Moments before, he remembers the word of caution spoken to him by his parents, realizing that he's now in danger. Opening his eyes, he sees himself chained behind iron bars, with many more children around him. There's no doubt about it, the evil cult has kidnapped Akira and his friend. Later, Midis also wakes up, but instead of worrying about their situation, he suggests fighting the bad guys and saving the children. Akira feels like he's lost his mind and tries to knock some sense into her, but he doesn't listen and instantly generates high-level flame magic. That's when Akira finds out something unexpected. His friend is no ordinary child. He excels in swordsmanship and magic. Moreover, her left eye is red, proving that he's the legendary hero. Finally, Akira's relieved to know that he's hit the jackpot, and there may actually be a chance of them getting saved without him having to use his powers. Midis effortlessly melts the metal bars, and they're running outside when some evil cult members stop him. However, he produces flame magic and quickly runs directly into them, burning them down with his bare hands. His speed is so fast they can't stop there. Akira's confident in him and tells Midis to run away. At the same time, he yells to be the leader of the cult. They reach an awkward situation as their opposite ideals want them to do two different things. Daiva, on the other hand, is worried sick at home because Akira hasn't returned home, and she suspects the terrible cult has kidnapped him. However, Arya remains cool because she understands the true hidden strength of that boy. Meanwhile, two friends are debating because Akira believes that battling the wicked cult without knowing who they are is too dangerous, and that they should instead flee and seek help from adults. Nonetheless, Midis is too solid in his ideas and would rather save all the children. As a result, the two are unable to find common ground. The terrible cult is sacrificing children at the location to create a light of life commanded by their leader, a mystery black woman. Faced with no other choice, Midis resolves to risk his life for his beliefs, dashing towards the strong boss. Meanwhile, he begs Akira to stay behind, but their relationship is too strong, and Akira is compelled to accompany him in this tough quest. They approach the altar, where innocent youngsters are being led to their deaths. The image frightens Akira and makes him want to run. Midis, on the other hand, is propelled ahead by his rage, demanding the liberation of the captives from the clutches of the cultists. A mystery woman appears behind them during this critical moment. Midis reacts quickly, launching a strike, but she escapes unhurt, her aura shrouded in mystery. Unruffled, the aristocrat proceeds to remove the cultists one by one, demolishing them gradually. Their collective awakening occurs. Their hero is Midis. The ultimate opponent is none other than the cult's leader. Even in the midst of this climatic battle, Akira begs Midis to let him go. The unyielding aristocrat is driven by an unwavering conviction to demonstrate that justice will triumph over all odds. However, an unexpected twist occurs as an overpowering magical force appears on the earth, frightening both Midis and Akira. The realization hits them. The commander has exceptional summoning abilities, summoning a high-level stone golem. Due to its intrinsic resistance to magic, this terrible foe becomes practically invincible, casting an even darker shadow over their arduous conflict. As the water rises, Akira knows how bad their situation is. Midas, on the other hand, remains unwavering in his belief that his strong magical talents can yet break the tenacious stone golem. Midas summons his whole might and channels the height of his magical prowess, releasing a spell of unprecedented scale on the golem. His hopes are pinned on reducing it to ashes, yet the golem effortlessly discerns and neutralizes the magic, disheartening Midas. The cult leader taunts him cruelly, ridiculing his failed attempt and stripping away his pride. Midas's defiance persists, despite the leader extending an offer of pardon in exchange for an apology. He holds his ground, refusing to bow before her. This stubbornness, however, only serves to intensify the leader's retribution. The golem's brutal blows rain upon Midas, and he endures the punishment, resolute in his refusal to yield. Akira, unable to bear witness to his friend's suffering, pleads for Midas to reconsider. He implores him to apologize and bring an end to the torment, yet Midas remains steadfast, prioritizing his principles over his well-being. At this critical juncture, the leader plans to inflict greater anguish. She threatens to harm Akira in retribution. In a heart-wrenching moment, Midas's unwavering facade crumbles. Overwhelmed by regret for his arrogance and disregard for Akira's counsel, he surrenders his pride and extends a heartfelt apology. Tears stream down his face as he confronts his shortcomings, realizing the depth of his mistakes. Seeing his sad friend, Akira's resolve solidifies. He is no longer willing to cower or flee, but recognizes the need to emulate Midas's selflessness and compassion. Reflecting on his past self, he acknowledges his shortcomings and aspires to transform into someone who uplifts others rather than merely pursuing personal success. With unwavering determination, Akira makes a life-altering decision. He vows never to revert to his former self, committing to employing his abilities to rescue others, echoing Midas's noble example. This newfound purpose propels him forward, infusing him with renewed strength and purpose. As the fierce confrontation rages on, Akira's unwavering resolve becomes a beacon of hope, illuminating a path toward redemption and liberation from the clutches of darkness. As they stand united against the impossible odds, Midas and Akira draw upon their unwavering bond to forge a powerful synergy. Their spirits intertwine, and a surge of determination courses through their veins. In this pivotal moment, they discover a profound truth. Their collective strength and selfless resolve possess the potential to transcend even the mightiest of adversities, promising a glimmer of triumph amidst the shadows. With a surge of mystical energy coursing through his fingertips, Akira embarked on a spellbinding feat, conjuring forth an expansive magical canvas that stretched before him like an uncharted realm. His intentions were nothing short of audacious, to breathe life into the very essence of his imagination, sculpting an advanced golem that defied the boundaries of conventional conjuration. It was a spectacle that defied belief, leaving both the leader of their company and the enigmatic Metis in a state of incredulous awe, their eyes fixed upon the spectacle of a young prodigy commanding the arcane arts with an unbridled mastery. Yet, as the tapestry of his ambition unfolded, a chilling realization swept over Akira like a shadowy veil. The price of his conjuring prowess had begun to manifest, a searing pain that traversed the depths of his being, a testament to the precarious balance he had dared to disrupt. The specter of magic deficiency loomed ominously, threatening to snuff out his nascent brilliance before it could fully illuminate his destiny. Despite his prodigious talents, Akira was confronted by the unforgiving truth that his magical prowess had yet to transcend the confines of the intermediate level. A fleeting glimpse into the annals of his memory transported Akira to a juncture in his past, a vivid recollection of painstakingly refining a character until it retained its original allure, despite the myriad iterations it underwent. This introspective reverie proved to be the catalyst for a profound epiphany that now unfurled within him. A daring gambit took shape as Akira contemplated a radical approach to his visionary pursuit, a synthesis of the advanced golem he had envisioned, woven seamlessly with judicious simplifications that would render it attainable within the strictures of his magical limitations. As the crescendo of his arcane orchestrations reached its zenith, an iridescent transformation began to envelop the burgeoning construct before him. With a triumphant flourish, Akira unveiled his modified creation, a fusion of innovation and homage that paid deference to the original character of his intent while remaining a testament to his adaptability and resourcefulness. In the shadow of his unconventional feat, derisive laughter erupted from their adversary, a taunting testament to the departure from the convention that Akira's creation represented. Yet beneath the veneer of mockery lay a begrudging acknowledgement. The enigmatic golem that now stood sentinel was an embodiment of advanced enchantment, bearing the unmistakable signature of mastery that only a prodigy of Akira's caliber could bestow. Ever astute and possessed of sagacious discernment, Akira elected to prioritize the safety of Metis, a testament to his unwavering nobility and brave heart. Only once the mantle of protection was firmly in place did he turn his attention to the disdainful interloper who had underestimated his preternatural potential. With a flourish of conviction and an incantation imbued with relentless power, Akira unshackled the full force of his magical prowess, sweeping aside doubt and dissent in a maelstrom of metaphysical energy that bespoke his ascendancy beyond the ordinary. A newfound equilibrium settled upon the battlefield in the hallowed aftermath of his arcane display. Akira, the youthful harbinger of boundless potential, stood resolute, a testament to the inexhaustible reservoirs of innovation that thrived within his spirit. And as the dust of conflict dispersed, the tapestry of his destiny unfurled, a tableau rich with promise and the intrepid hues of an untold future. Since defeating the summoner will make the creature disappear, Akira attacks the leader and saves Metis from the enemy's golem. Since he's almost out of magic, he quickly tries to escape, but is stopped by the evil woman still alive. Using a scroll, she summons the worst possible creature, divine beast Leviathan, a water monster that is very strong against the golem. It attacks Akira's golem, but he protects it with an earth wall and shoots a destructive beam. This leaves the enemy appalled as she sees the boy control his golem in his way, making her constantly question his humanity. However, it's only late once the beast starts overpowering the golem, crushing it from its waves. When it tries to shoot the destructive beam, the creature defends itself. At this point, Akira begins to lose hope as he's out of magic power and cannot fight back anymore. Nonetheless, he's still unwilling to let go of his second life so easily because he knows this is his own idea and his creativity can save. That's when he sees the empty scroll from earlier and gets the idea to draw an elixir and drink it to get the boost. At the same time, Akira's golem is destroyed, and he's seconds away from being killed. Unfortunately, the scroll is used, so it has no magic, and since he cannot infuse magic himself, he cannot use the scroll. Yet in the last moments, Akira doesn't give up and asks Metis to infuse his magic into the scroll. This is the only option to save them because he has never been able to use magic, which is why he discovered the cheat of drawing on scrolls. Amidst the looming threat, the enemy's overconfidence swells as she stands on the verge of overpowering a formidable young child, Akira. Sensing the dire situation, Akira reaches for a magic-infused scroll, etching an elixir onto it, which he consumes. Instantly, a surge of magical energy courses through him, elevating his power to a level capable of challenging his adversary. The woman dismisses his actions as a foolish ploy, but her skepticism is shattered when a breathtaking spectacle unfolds before her eyes. A living, blazing, fire-advanced golem materializes, a creation tailored to combat the water-affiliated beast. Paralyzed by astonishment, the enemy remains immobilized as the golem relentlessly pounds her creature into oblivion, the battle ending in a dazzling flash of destruction. Beyond the coastal confines, a colossal explosion catches the attention of onlookers, prompting swift preparations for reinforcements as they rush toward the cliffside battleground. Meanwhile, Akira's strength wanes within the cave's confines, leaving him utterly drained. Summoning his remaining vitality, he implores Metis to flee to safety. Miraculously, Akira's plea is answered by the timely arrival of his father, Carl, leading an army. Together, they repel the threat, securing the salvation of all. Yet Metis remains intrigued by the enigma of his friend's true identity. Akira, however, evades direct answers, entreating Metis to safeguard the secret of his newfound power. Thus, the incredible potential of a gifted summoner remains concealed, at least for the present moment. With the situation finally under control, the two friends finally rest and spend the last few moments together, appreciating each other before getting separated. Before Metis leaves, he tells Akira his real name, Metis Fina, Mayan, his real name. The boy is surprised to see Metis have such a girly name and doesn't think more of it since his heart is filled with respect for his first ever true friend. Meanwhile, it's revealed that Mayan was undercover this whole time, and she is a girl, a princess, who is pretending to be Metis. On the other hand, Akira is struck with unbearable pain in the night due to mana exhaustion, and the only way to save him is by inserting mana from outside into his nerves. However, this would make him incapable of ever handling mana again. The procedure is carried out successfully, but a danger knocks on their door at night. The woman from the evil cult is talking to Arya as she's taken notice of the boy's power, and the organization referred to as the End is interested in him. Still, the maid warns the evil woman never to come near the child, as she has sealed his power, and she will be against her and the organization if she does otherwise. Hearing this, the evil woman revealed to be Marwaria bids her farewell. However, how long can Arya hire this power, and what exactly is the End capable of? After a few days, Akira finally goes to their usual spot every day to meet Metis, but he never shows up again. And just like that, time flies away. Years later, the kingdom of Stromheim faces a possible catastrophe due to seeing signs of a dangerous species called Odar. Hence, to protect the queen, guards and magicians are being gathered, and a knight is requested to find the man who's best at summoning magic. In the year 698, in the Stromheim kingdom, an army of Odars appeared, a species with fortified bodies that would suck the lives out of humans, and their corpses would become Odars too, increasing their numbers tenfolds. Soon, the whole kingdom was taken over, and to fight against them, the Pennsylvanian magic squad was brought with magicians and summoners. Due to their assistance and the role of great hero, Sword Mayan and his wife, Celeria the Queen, the kingdom was saved, although it cost them their lives. Hence, humanity formed alliances to face them in the future, took greater measures, and conducted training to prepare humans for possible occurrences of Odas. Coming back 14 years later to the present, the Stromheim people flourish in peace. Meanwhile, our protagonist Akira has grown up and is currently losing money in gambling, which he played to help out his friend. His friend mocks him for being hung up on things, which leads them to quarrel, as Akira asks him for his money back because he's in debt of 9,000 gold coins. However, his friend complains that both have no talent or luck, especially Akira, who has no magic despite being a magic shop owner. Although he did have abilities, he lost them during the incident in his childhood, making him completely magicless and now living a very average life. While Akira claims to be content with his boring life, as he has no marriage or job problems, the gorgeous bar waitress walks in and offers to go out on a date since he has no wife yet. However, the boy refuses her. Suddenly, Arya comes to the inn to take Akira with him, making his friend tease him that she's the one he's interested in. Although he refuses, his red cheeks blow his cover. While the two are walking back home, Arya informs Akira that a guest from the royal palace is waiting for him. On their way, the taunts by his friend start to bother Akira, as he is reminded of the incident 8 years ago which caused him to be unable to handle his mana, and he can only do drawings if someone's mana is summoned into him, something only Arya knows. Still, he tries to make himself feel okay with having no powers. Before he realizes it, Akira enters a dating spot with Arya, which makes him feel shy, as if they're a couple too. Suddenly, she holds his hand, which worries him more, but that's a way for her to comfort him, telling him that even if he's magicless, he's still Akira, and that's what matters. Consequently, he feels better knowing that despite everything, his family has always loved and supported him, something no money or fame could buy him a peaceful life. Finally, they arrive, where the royal knight awaits them, confirming with him if he's the genius summoning sorcerer. Upon hearing her voice, a surge of fear courses through Akira's veins, his mind racing with the possibility that she might have uncovered his closely guarded secret. Furthermore, an uncanny resemblance between her appearance and someone from his past sends shivers down his spine. Unmet by a response, the knight showcases her prowess, executing lightning-fast sword slashes that blur before the eyes, conjuring breathtaking cascades of luminous light. Akira's heart races as he witnesses the display, a maneuver previously witnessed only by Medes. Intrigued, the lady christens her feat as the magical flash, a hitherto undisclosed technique passed down within the Mayan lineage. With an air of authority, she reveals herself as Katya Mayan, the esteemed commander of the Royal Knights, and intriguingly, Medes' sword instructor. The revelation of Katya's connection to Medes sparks a mix of emotions within Akira. Delight washes over him as he hears news of his long-lost friend, yet a lingering question gnaws at his mind. Why would Medes take an interest in him after all this time? His concern deepens when Katya confirms her purpose. She seeks him out due to his unique summoning ability. Apprehension tightens its grip on the young boy as he fears his tranquil, ordinary existence is now in jeopardy. Yet Katya's assurances soothe his nerves, quelling his apprehensions. A seemingly ordinary encounter unfolds at a quaint cake shop where Akira casually converses with Katya. Playful banter ensues, and Akira ventures into an amusing yet futile attempt at flirtation. However, his comedic endeavor is punctured by a stark revelation. Katya is significantly older than him. The realization strikes him like a lightning bolt. This woman before him, Katya Mayan, had once been one of the potential maternal figures considered before his journey into this world. The unexpected discovery sends Akira's emotions into a whirlwind, his excitement nearly overpowering him. In a surprising twist, Katya is embarrassed, clarifying that she remains unmarried. Akira's mind races as he contemplates the implications. Could his other potential mothers also inhabit this world? As the conversation evolves, Akira musters the courage to inquire about Katya's true purpose in seeking him out. With an uncontainable burst of words, she reveals the nature of her visit, a proposal for him to join her party to defeat a formidable flame dragon, capitalizing on his unique ability. The weight of her request dawns upon Akira, signaling the beginning of a new, extraordinary chapter in his life. This venture promises both challenges and revelations beyond his wildest imagination. Consequently, Akira's inability to comprehend this foolish request tells her he can no longer use magic since his mana nerves were damaged in childhood. Still, Katya doesn't believe him because Medesfina told her that he hides his powers until his friends need them. Hence, she suggests to Akira that if he doesn't have a magic supply, she will give him magic through a prodigy sorcerer in her party from the legendary magic country of Pennsylvania. Moreover, they need him at any cost, as his summoned golem is needed to defend against the flame dragon. Additionally, he will be rewarded 10,000 gold as well. Now, the reward is something he cannot deny, since Akira needs the money to pay off the debt, plus he's given a mana supply. Plus, the sly knight would threaten him if he doesn't join, so Akira eventually agrees to her offer. The mission starts tomorrow, and the young boy's only hope is that the person who will supply him mana is friendly. Unfortunately, that's not the case, as the sorcerer is an arrogant lowly called Prawl who's very skeptical of a so-called summoner without any mana supply. Hearing that the boy summoned a golem at 7, she begins to doubt him even more and supplies him mana so he can prove his skills to her. To her surprise, Akira instantly summons a low-level golem, but the summon consumes so much of her mana that she gets exhausted. The reason is that the mana is not reaching Akira's mana storage, aka mana pool, due to his damaged nerves, and are going directly to the golem. A person's magic amount depends on the size of their mana pool, through which their magic is cast. But since the external mana is not getting stored in Akira's mana pool, all of it is leaking out, which is a waste. This proves to Katya that the genius summoner wasn't lying about his condition, so she requests Prahl to cure his magic nerves since she's from the world's best magic nation and is a learned prodigy. But would it be possible to cure this foul-mouthed sorcerer? To cure magical nerves which have been frayed for years? Katya and Prahl find themselves amazed by the dazzling display of rainbow lights, a phenomenon entirely foreign to their knowledge. The enigma deepens as they confront the 5 distinct responses, ranging from the absence of light to shades of green, blue, red, and finally, gold. Perplexed by this unprecedented spectacle, the duo grapples with its inexplicable origins. At night, Katya diligently stands guard until Prahl arrives to take over. A conversation ensues, prompting the sorcerer to question the extraordinary fervor surrounding a seemingly unassuming individual, Akira. Katya proceeds to shed light on the matter, acknowledging the rarity of summoning an advanced golem at such a tender age, given the intricacies of his magical disruption condition. Delving further into her research, Katya reveals that Akira's father, Carl Rainford, is no ordinary man. Unbeknownst to many, Carl was a prodigious sorcerer who once graced the hallowed halls of the Magical Academy in Pennsylvania, earning the distinction of the premier wizard of his generation. Yet 18 years prior, Carl vanished from the annals of history, opting to abstain from the ravages of war and sought refuge in peaceful anonymity alongside his family. This newfound knowledge forges a deep-rooted belief within Katya and Prahl that Akira's extraordinary summoning prowess stems from his lineage, an inheritance of greatness from a father who reshaped the standards of the renowned academy. A steadfast affection for Akira blossoms in Katya's heart, a connection forged when their paths intertwine. Her unwavering resolve to protect him is a testament to the inexplicable bond that defies rationale. As dawn breaks, the time arrives to fulfill the mission's formidable purpose, confronting the fire dragon. Steeled with determination, Akira takes the decisive step, seamlessly conjuring an advanced golem with Prahl's supportive assistance. The sight leaves Prahl in profound disbelief, her astonishment mirroring the initial encounter with the rainbow lights. Yet the swift depletion of Prahl's mana foreshadows a looming crisis, placing the responsibility squarely on Katya's shoulders. With urgency coursing through her veins, Katya launches into action, her blade drawn to slay the fiery menace. However, the golem's sluggish movements reveal a deficiency in its mana supply, a hindrance that endangers their efforts. The peril escalates as the fire dragon expels a torrent of scorching flames, narrowly thwarted by the golem's timely defensive stance. A dire impasse looms as Prahl's mana dwindles, consumed by the insatiable appetite of the advanced golem. Faced with the specter of defeat, the resourceful sorcerer employs a fleeting yet ingenious solution. She channels her mana into Akira's magical nerves, temporarily augmenting his mana efficiency, while bold, incremental improvement remains insufficient to avert the impending mana depletion. Amidst the gathering storm, the authority figure emerges, the Royal Knight's commander. Undaunted, she charges forward, a blur of motion as her blade dances with deadly precision. She employs her signature technique, Suigon, and delivers a flurry of rapid strikes, culminating in the ultimate triumph, the fire dragon's decisive demise, defeated in a symphony of slashes. In this pivotal moment, the convergence of talents, Akira's summoning, Prahl's sorcery, Katya's courage, and the Knight's commander's mastery orchestrates a victory that is a testament to the enduring power of unity and unwavering determination. Hero is a mutation that the goddess of war has created to have a superhuman body with extraordinary magic. Additionally, the Mayan clan of Stormheim is among the 7 great houses which protect the world, and Suigon is the special technique in their bloodline. This rare technique is faster than light speed, as it allows the sword users to have 100 attacks on the enemy in a second, and the most famous ones of this bloodline are the Red Eye buff. With only one swing from her sword, the dragon lies slain on the ground by a true hero. After this intense battle, there's no doubt about Akira's ability anymore, although it almost killed poor Prawl from mana exhaustion. On the other hand, now Katya demands questions from Akira about how he possibly can summon a high-level creature at a young age, and the only conclusion she can have is that his father made him hide it so he could secretly develop his skills. Meanwhile, Akira is completely clueless about why she believes his father made him hide it, as all he knows about his father is that he's a simpleton shopkeeper. Moreover, Prawl also jumps in to pressurize that his father, the most talented spellcaster in the Magic Academy's history, possibly made the contract. That's when Akira finally realizes that he might not have known his father properly and might be a genius magician who chose his mother to live a simple life. Nonetheless, Katya finally decides to tell Akira the true reasons behind this mission, but a sudden, unforeseen catastrophe reaches them before she can finish. Behind them stands something they had never imagined fighting. Even in their nightmare, the divine beast, which slept near the dragon's nest. This world has 4 divine beasts: the divine beast of Earth Norm, the divine beast of Water Leviathan, the divine beast of the Wind Elfin, and the most powerful, the divine beasts of Fire Salamander. These legendary beings will not leave the ones who disturb them, as they are the supreme beings of each element, the monsters like gods. Battling him is almost impossible, and running away is risky. If he uses the blazing breath, it will melt everything around. Moreover, no other magic, not even ice, can be powerful against Salamander since it's the strongest. Only the Wind Beast Elfin or Leviathan and Norm can combine have a chance against him. The name Leviathan brings an old memory back to Akira's mind as the evil cult leader summoned Leviathan. Still, according to Prawl, anyone who summons the divine beast is no longer human. However, Katya reminds them this isn't time for discussion, as their life hangs on the line and it's either fighting or retreating. Unfortunately, retreating doesn't work out. Their only option is battle. Salamander throws his flame breath on them, but Prawl quickly defends them. Meanwhile, Katya goes ahead to fight the dragon directly. Worried about the situation, Prawl tells Akira that she's holding the barrier and that he should summon the golem using her mana in the meantime. Still, if the sorcerer uses any more of her mana, she will have severe magic exhaustion. Yet Katya is at risk, so they summon the golem to divert his attention. But that's not it. While putting up the barrier and giving mana, Prawl proves that she's a prodigy in Pennsylvania by also restoring Akira's magical nerves. At the same time, she also launches a 4th spell of weather magic to support Katya. Prawl deduces that she can improve Golem's mana consumption and mobility by lowering Akira's mana consumption. For this, she plans to connect his distant nerves. So she enters Akira's body with her consciousness, but what she sees keeps her eyes wide open. It's a bright rainbow light, which is his mana pocket, hidden behind severed nerves. Prawl Bryce is a mastermind magician. Even in the world's most powerful magical country, she remembers that the average mana pocket size is equivalent to a human heart, and the exceptional mages have theirs equivalent to a human height, or a little more. Moreover, Prawl was considered extraordinary throughout her life for her humongous mana pocket. However, hers is nothing compared to Akira, whose mana pocket is bigger than she has ever heard about before. But what's more mysterious is that the torn nerves around the pocket are placed in a way that seems to be deliberately hidden. Unfortunately, Prawl has returned her focus to the battle as the dragon prepares for an attack. She's trying to catch her breath when they are about to be hit by his fire breath, and Akira is close to losing his second life. But once again, Prawl saves him by putting up the barrier. On the other hand, Katya is struggling to fight against the dragon on the front lines. She sees the salamander's weak point, rumored to be the fire sac on his chest, and stabs it with her swinging technique. However, her attack is not enough to defeat him. Instead, the firebag turns into lava, which traps her. In the meantime, Akira escapes from the battle with Prawl, as they both are severely injured. Yet she's worried about leaving Katya behind. Still, the young boy clarifies that they will return after he gives her an elixir to restore her mana. Afterward, he will use her mana to defeat the salamander by doing something unbelievable, summoning the water beast, Leviathan. At Stroheim, the princess worries about breaking her promise to her beloved childhood friend for the country's sake. On the battlefield, Katya exhibits unwavering bravery despite her grievous wounds, determined to aid Prawl and Akira in breaking free from the dragon's clutches. A sudden colossal explosion triggers concern in the sorcerer's heart, yet the ingenious summoner promptly extends an elixir to Katya, miraculously restoring her health. Amid Akira's desire to summon Leviathan again and Prawl's lingering hesitation, Katya convinces them to give the audacious attempt a shot. Although the prospect of a human forging a connection with a divine beast seems improbable, Katya hesitantly embraces Akira's seemingly insane plan. Astoundingly, the entirety of Prawl's mana surges into Akira, empowering him to summon the majestic Leviathan creature successfully. The sight of the enigmatic boy summoning the divine water beast leaves Prawl both amazed and puzzled. Akira adeptly controls the aquatic behemoth, initiating its initial attack known as the Breath of Water, yet the spell drains excessive Prawl's mana, failing to substantially damage the formidable fire beast. Simultaneously, the sorcerer grapples with the challenge of replenishing mana at a rapid pace, strained by the relentless demands of the water beast. Amid this crucial juncture, she recollects an unfinished task, mending Akira's mana nerves, enabling him to utilize his abilities fully. Amid a fierce and intense battle, the two formidable creatures clash, their powers resonating in a titanic struggle. Amidst the chaos, Katya makes a startling revelation. The fearsome beast she confronts has been summoned by none other than Akira, leaving her stunned by his extraordinary abilities. This revelation triggers a flashback, recalling when the princess shared tales of the young boy's astonishing gifts, a potential savior of their world. However, there's no room for nostalgia, for Prawl's dwindling mana reserves are approaching depletion. The dire situation demands a solution, and their only hope is to obtain more magical energy to overcome the formidable salamander. Astonishingly, the brilliant sorcerer Prawl unveils a masterful strategy to bolster their energy. She directs Katya to temporarily transfer her mana to Akira, a daring move to amplify their chances of survival. Upon the mana exchange, Prawl mends Akira's mana reserves, meticulously restoring them to 30%. With a deliberate and skillful approach, Prawl employs her arcane talents, ultimately succeeding in revitalizing his mana reservoir. As the restoration nears completion, a surge of otherworldly magic courses through Akira's veins, building a crescendo of power. The once magic-deficient Akira is left dumbfounded by his transformed state. The sheer magnitude of magical energy now emanates from his form, manifesting as a radiant and ethereal aura enveloping his being. At a mere 30%, Akira's mana supply defies conventional limits, placing the responsibility squarely on his shoulders to harness this newfound might. Empowered by this remarkable infusion of energy, Akira stands poised to take charge. The battle's outcome hinges upon his ability to harness and channel this extraordinary power. He has no idea what's happening with the sudden overflowing magic in his body, but he knows what to do now. With so much mana of his own, Akira can finally make the best use of Leviathan, so he throws heavy spells on the fire beast one after another. While Prawl and Katya are standing enjoying the show, they realize it's time for them to charge too to assist him. Together, the two perform a joint attack, with Prawl using ice magic and Katya using her ultimate swing-in technique, which damages Salamander's legs, and he unbalances. At the same time, the Leviathan attacks its neck, but that doesn't defeat him as its weak spot is his heart inside the fiery sack. Moreover, the fire beast's heart is protected by strong muscle armor, which makes this even more challenging for them. But before they can discuss more, Salamander attacks them with its fire breath, and as usual, Prawl saves them with her magical barrier again, especially because without Akira's help, they're going to end dead. Now, it's up to the world's best mangaka to find out and come up with something against the divine fire beast. Although Akira has enough mana, Leviathan needs to be stronger than Salamander, and changing its size won't improve its power. However, that's when he realizes that he needs to be more creative and make a sketch that could concentrate all of its strength at one point. Akira finally has a formidable plan and tells Prawl to cover him for the next breath, as he will pierce Salamander's heart after its breath ends. For Leviathan to focus all of its power in one spot, he generously adjusts its shape by making a huge spear with its concertation point having all its power in the tip. The trio prepares for their final attack against Salamander using all their strength. Prawl is supposed to shield Akira, while Katya is to provoke it to use his fire breath. The young boy is ordering around 2 experienced combatants, yet they follow his plan as they believe in him. Katya wastes no time, runs straight into Salamander, and uses her swingin', damaging it enough to anger it. Meanwhile, Prawl uses an infinite protection spell by using mana from life energy to compensate for her short leftover mana, reassuring them to attack freely without worrying about protection. Consequently, Salamander throws his fire breath, which is so strong that it's about to break Prawl's protection as she's running out of mana. Surprisingly, Katya supplies her with mana which saves them. Finally, it's time for a showdown. Akira looked for the right moment to strike the spear, and the second the dragon breathed, it was his chance. With all his remaining mana, the Leviathan concentrates its power on the spear's tip and quickly shoots it at Salamander, piercing and slaying the heart. Akira's true power is uncovered as he defeats the strongest divine beast. On the other hand, the Rainford family is having a peaceful lunch, and Carl and Diva are discussing Akira's return and wondering where's Arya. Meanwhile, she's standing on the house's roof as if waiting for someone. Back at the battlefield, Prawl and Katya are still astonished that Akira defeated Salamander, and at the same time are relieved to know he's the jackpot who can save the country from the risk of orders. But seeing him like this causes them to have a billion more questions for Akira, but he's unable to answer them as he's so exhausted that he faints and starts burning up. Whereas 3 mysterious people-masked people have been watching them this whole time and are intrigued to find out that Akira can summon without a contract, which seems like a risk to them as it can affect their odor plan. These creatures are singularities, and they seem to acknowledge his power to be strong enough to a singularity level. They can eradicate him, but then they would have to go against one of the 4 shadows, Malaria of Perdition, aka Arya. 700 years ago, the 4 ancient singularities created by the gods started a war of domination and were nicknamed shadows because of their horrifying power. Amongst them, one wasn't interested in power, which was Perdition, created by one of the highest goddesses. Perdition was the one who ended the conflict that was between shadows, which were spawning their singularities, and made a pact forbidding the creation of new singularities. The singularities assume that Perdition broke the pact by creating a singularity which is Akira, until one singularity suggests that maybe she did not create this boy, and there's more to it. Moreover, the confusion concerns whether to end Akira or get him on their side. Still, since his power is too precious to destroy, they decide to observe him more before deciding, all of this, to bring back Icarus Enlil, a shadow. Meanwhile, at the Rainford residence, Akira has been brought back home, and Katya tells Carl the truth about their mission and apologizes. Afterward, she asks him why he hid Akira's true capabilities. On the other hand, in the north of the continent, in the country of Stormheim, the risk from Odarians is rising as a 3rd wave is expected to come soon, so they urgently need a squad of mages for assistance. While back at the house, Katya is still looking for answers from Carl and assumes that he's harboring his talent, but the father doesn't know about his abilities and cannot comprehend what she's saying. But of course, Katya believes that he's playing dumb and tells him everything from summoning a golem at 7 to having his mana pocket sealed. Furthermore, confirming that she's seen his powers, he needs to be enrolled in the Royal Academy of Magic and become a court summoner. Carl is shocked to learn so much about his son from a knight and requests her to give him time to talk to him. She agrees, but insists he considers the country's safety. At the same time, Akira's feeling hot because of magical exhaustion and hears Arya's voice telling him she'll take care of him. She calls him her husband and kisses him, which causes him to open his eyes and see her on top of him. He thinks she's doing something lewd to him and kicking her out of his room, but she was doing a massage to circulate the mana. Afterward, Carl comes to Arya and tells her they need to talk. Meanwhile, Akira is confused, thinking whether those words from Arya were a dream or reality, but moves on to making himself an elixir to heal. However, once he draws it, the scroll surprisingly catches fire. A scroll burning is something that never happened to Akira, and it makes him wonder whether it's related to the increase in his magic power. Suddenly, his mother walks in and tells him she has heard everything about his no-contract summoning and powers from the Katya. On the other hand, Carl questions Arya about Akira, as she had told him that 8 years ago, Akira's injuries were due to the cultists flooding him with mana, although he knew it wasn't true, but still kept the seal, all because he trusted it, although she's a perdition. He's worried about his other powers and wonders if she's behind all of this and is turning him to her singularity. Finally, Arya speaks and reminds him that he had promised her that he'd give her a family, due to which she's been serving him. Moreover, she explains that since childhood, Akira has had this summoning ability that surpasses the singularity. Since, too, she has been concerned about him becoming a target due to his powers. She tried to seal his magic. However, Carl's worried, since his power has still been exposed. He's now a target, and even with Arya's power, it couldn't be hidden. Additionally, Akira's powers may even be greater than a shadow. Carl's devastated to see his son have the same Rainford's curse of blood as him, but Arya suggests it's best to let him become the summoner for his safety, so the recognition could protect him. Moreover, she reminds him about the agreement between her and his ancestors and promises him that she will protect him against all the shadows. Afterward, Carl informs Akira that he is to attend the Magic Academy, and he knows everything about his power. However, he doesn't know about it completely, because some things are also hidden from Katya. Akira apologizes to his father for hiding it, but Carl is happy that he prioritizes his family's peace first. Moreover, since the court has learned about Akira's abilities, he must join the Court Magic Academy. Akira knows he has no choice but to accept his fate now. Although his dream was to live a simple life and inherit the magic shop, he has to leave his home for years. Despite this, Carl comforts him by saying he has a gift to save people and should develop it. Once again, the young boy is reminded of his past, which makes him cry as he feels upset that his fears of leaving home are coming true. His beloved father tells him to enjoy the new adventures while reassuring him that he has a home to return to. These words warm Akira's hurting heart as he feels glad knowing he can return to his family anytime. Once this emotional moment is over, the young boy teases his father that he's heard about him being a genius magician from Pennsylvania who left the academy, which embarrasses Carl, and he promises to tell him why once he's graduated. After 1 week, it's time for Akira to leave for the academy, and his family is lovingly bidding him farewell. When he arrives at Stormheim Fortress City, he's surprised to see how modern and advanced it is. Moreover, he's delighted that he can pay off his debt with the reward. However, when Katya tries to talk to him, he ignores her, which makes her annoyed. But Prowl explains to her that he's mad at her because she forcefully made him enter the academy, which makes her sad since she believes they share a strong bond. Afterward, Prowl parted ways with them as their journey together had ended, and Akira thanked her for saving him from the salamander. Before leaving, she advises him that Katya is someone who's trustworthy. Akira notices that the great mage is finally speaking to him with his name, which means she has finally acknowledged him. Soon they arrive at the palace, and Katya is excited to make him meet Medisfina. While waiting for her, Akira notices the gorgeous palace and is appalled by it. while at the same time he feels extremely nervous, wishing for Katya to return soon. Suddenly, he hears a voice behind him telling him not to turn around and asking him to tell how angry he is at Metis honestly, but Akira tells her he's not mad and turns around. He sees such a gorgeous woman standing before him that his eyes shine from admiration and shock. She asks him about his well-being and then instantly bows down and apologizes, blaming herself for breaking their promise. Despite this, Akira is completely lost. He has no idea who this woman is. She looks like royalty, but not someone he has met before. Suddenly, Katya comes and hits him for making the princess behave this way in front of him and not stopping her. But all the poor man wants is to find out who this woman is. And that's when Katya finally tells him that this is none other than Princess Metisfina of Stormheim. Akira is astonished to find out that this is his childhood friend Metis, who's a girl and a princess. Although he's still doubtful about it, Metisfina once again apologizes at the dinner table for breaking her promise to him, which she had to do after keeping it a secret for 8 years. While the princess is blabbering, Akira can't help but think about how gorgeous and sophisticated the princess is, his childhood friend. More than being upset about breaking the promise, Akira was hurt about how she had suddenly disappeared, but it was all due to reasons she could not express. The young boy holds no grudge against her, as his power is bound to be found anyways. However, suddenly Metisfina makes a major request from him, asking him to graduate from the academy and become a court summoner and her vassal. She further explains that children with magic must enroll in the academy and later choose their paths. But in the north, humanity is facing its biggest threats by creatures called odors. Moreover, they always remained, as they kept secret from the citizens. Still, odors have continuously kept on attacking the northern walls, and troops have been fighting against them this whole time. The only way to fight against them was by using magic, which required them to take help from nations and hence bringing the kingdom at risk from foreign influences. Consequently, she and other princes and princesses are ordered to search worldwide for extraordinary mages and summoners. Hence, she has to play her part efficiently and request Akira to become her vassal, as he's the strongest summoner she's ever seen.
However, after only a few seconds, he rejects her request by telling her he will go back and pursue his dream of inheriting his family's shop once he graduates. Metisfina is shocked to see her friend request her desperate plea, but apologizes and ensures she will not force him to stay after graduation. After this, she leaves the table and tells him his room is prepared. When Akira goes to bed, he's unable to sleep, feeling guilty about seeing such a sad look on Metisfina's face. But when he turns around, he notices Katya casually sitting on his window. Akira's flustered to see her in his room, but what surprises him even more is seeing the knight in her sleeping gown. He asks her what emergency led her to come into a man's room at night in her nightgown, but she comes because she has to confirm from her why he rejected her request. But Akira corrects her that it wasn't a request from his friend, but instead sounded like an order from a princess only interested in wanting the throne. However, Katya tells him that he has misunderstood the princess, as she's in a position where her throne could be taken from her. This is because she's the daughter of the second princess, not Queen Kaisera. In the war held 14 years ago, the couple who sacrificed themselves were the queen's sister, Celeria, and the heir of the Mayan family, and Metisfina, their daughter. For generations, the kingdom has been ruled by the queen. Still, when the brave hero died by the odors, Queen Kaisera left the supremacy of heroes in the country. Instead, she focused on the establishment of a magic academy where those under 18 with magical talent are supposed to strengthen their power. That's why Katya brought him here. Originally, the throne's successor was to be Queen's daughter, Ursula Stromheim, but she renounced her right to success. So Metisfina became qualified for it. Since the national law didn't allow men to succeed to the throne, the only option left was Metisfina. However, the first prince, Oswald Stromheim, would only allow this sometimes. Oswald had spent his childhood studying various magical powers in foreign countries, but when he returned, he disliked the country's tradition of focusing on heroes and swordsmanship. But when the war was over, people's attitudes towards the prince and magic changed. The queen focused on strengthening the country's magical powers. Hence, Oswald intends to change the country into a magical power. Years ago, there was even an assassination attempt on Metisfina, and it's possible that the prince's faction did it. Moreover, there was a good result of Oswald's magic policies. which led to the queen changing the country's policy that now, the prince has an equal right to succession. Hence, they both are now competing against each other for the throne. However, despite such a grave situation, the princess requested Akira rather than ordering him because she isn't that kind of a person. Despite his rejecting her offer, the queen excitedly listened to her friend's success tales earlier, showing how close he is to her heart. Hearing this, Akira feels relieved that his friend is still the same. Katya tells him that Medisfina is the only one capable of protecting this country, and it would be great if he would be by her side since she has acknowledged him so much. However, Katya soon gets into a playful mood and gets on top of Akira to tease him. But suddenly, Medisfine enters the room to talk to him, and is shocked to find his friend wrapped in the arms of her knight. The next day, Medisfina taunts Akira about the lewd scene she saw in his room last night, but they clear it out for being a misunderstanding, so she believes them and returns to being in her usual cheerful mood. They tour the palace and stand at the front gate when they hear a wagon stop next to them. Inside it is a man badly wounded. The princess instantly goes to him, holds his hand, and appreciates him for fighting bravely. Since these knights secretly fight odors, their hard work cannot be given credit. They sacrifice for the countries in the shadows. However, Oswell hears her and calls these swordsmen bargaining chips as they walk straight to their deaths. He explains that these odors are getting more dangerous every day, and soon the heroes are incapable of fighting against them because blades are now outdated and making the nation weak. On the contrary, Katya questions his act of bringing in mages associated with foreign nobles and believes that blades are their country's pride and of utter importance. It's needed along with magic, which is why he must apologize for his comment earlier. But Oswell informs her that even the Archduke, who's equivalent to the heroes, has requested reinforcements of mages. Moreover, he mocks her for not developing magic in the country and only trying to find talent among the commoners. Furthermore, he's gathered hundreds of summoners and mages under his command, but she has yet to, and if she cannot produce results, then she isn't worthy of being a leader. He even takes it to a greater extent by telling her that the best way she can serve the country is by becoming the wife of the second prince of a foreign kingdom so that Stormheim could get their support. But suddenly, a voice interrupts them. It's Akira who tells him she has one summoner. Although he didn't want to join her at first, he couldn't help but interrupt after hearing the prince's arrogant words, which reminded him of the past. Once he catches his attention, he introduces himself as Akira Rainford, Medisfina's summoner from the commoners. This short interaction with Oswell was enough to tell Akira about his true nature. This man was similar to his past self. On the contrary, Medisfina has compassion for others. Hence, he's chosen her as the leader of his country, and will have to support her to make that happen. Medisfina and Katya are thrilled to see he's on board with them. However, the prince becomes curious about him, since Rainford is a name he's heard before. Therefore, he introduces himself as the son of a magic shop owner, and needs clarification that it's impossible for him not to have heard of a talented commoner. And so, he goes on to mock him more. Seeing her friend mocked makes Medisfina extremely angry, so she proves his abilities with her words. However, Oswell is smart. He uses her anger and suggests doing a test to prove that he's stronger than his trained men by having a duel between the Academy's aristocrats team and the commoners team. If the commoners win, he will apologize to Akira, acknowledge the success of Medisfina's talent search, and educate the people. Still, if he wins, she will have to accept his terms, which are that she will acknowledge the involvement of foreign countries in magic development at Storheim and accept the marriage proposal he had mentioned. It's an obvious trick for the prince to throw Medisfina to the side and get the throne. Everyone knows there's no way she could accept it, except that she accepts his challenge and all the terms, because she's sure there's no way for her to lose as long as Akira is on her side. On the other hand, at the Stormheim Academy, Prahl Bryce is accepted for a teaching job after declining all other offers, only because she heard that things would be interesting this year. Meanwhile, there is a commotion between the commoners at the student cafeteria as they have heard about the duel between those brought by Medisfina and Oswell. But what everyone's more worried about is hearing that she will marry based on the contest's results. Moreover, their chances of winning are slim because of the huge difference between their powers. Seeing them worried, a nobleman, Demetrius Fonwell, arrives to enjoy the opportunity to tease them. He mocks Anthony for being a baker, Elisa for being a singer, and Annie for working at a pub, saying that a team like theirs is bound to lose. Finally, a man comes to stop him, Alistair Fonwell, Demetrius's older brother, but he's at a lower rank. He defends his friends by saying they're supposed to learn together without any differences, as those were the queen's intentions. But Demetrius says this challenge will decide everything as the princess will be sent off. Once he leaves, Everyone is more worried about the princess's decision and the very obvious outcomes of this duel. If they lose the outcome, the princess will go abroad, which means they will be kicked out of the academy too. The commoners have only 1 silver rank in their team. Meanwhile, the noblemen are gold ranked. However, the only hope is that they heard a rumor that the princess would win because she has a trump card, the strongest summoner. Akira's long-awaited admission to the academy marks the beginning of a pivotal chapter in his journey. Upon entering its hallowed halls, he crosses paths with Greta Maverick, a seasoned expert in summoning and his designated instructor and supervisor. As a mentor, Greta acquires Akira with the intricacies of the academy's formidable system, a curriculum spanning 4 years and punctuated by biannual promotion examinations. The foundation of the academy's structure rests upon a tiered hierarchy, with each echelon demanding a certified assessment to ascend. The coveted zenith, the rank of Gold Mage, is the summit each student aspires to reach within their 4 years. This golden achievement, symbolizing mastery and adeptness, becomes the key that unlocks the doors to graduation, conferring upon the accomplished mage the prestigious title of State Mage. This accomplishment is particularly meaningful for commoners, as it bestows upon them the elevated status of a baron, a privilege that affords them a pathway to even nobler pursuits. A dimension of conjugal significance is also interwoven within this labyrinthine system. Graduates who have scaled the heights to become state mages are granted the extraordinary privilege of entering into marital unions with noblewomen. This unique privilege, both an honor and a testament to one's prowess, further galvanizes Akira's determination to excel within this demanding realm. Yet the journey has its temporal constraints and challenges. The rigors of this academic odyssey allow students a designated period to manifest their growth, culminating in the Gold Mage rank. A 4-year window, if fulfilled, is sometimes extended by a supplementary year. Beyond this gracious extension, however, the prospect of expulsion looms for those who do not ascend to the Golden Plateau within the allotted time. Amidst the grandeur and gravity of the Academy's commitments, Akira's thoughts traverse a tumultuous landscape. His consciousness brims with the magnitude of the upcoming duel, upon which not only his fate, but also that of Medisvina hinges. This weighty responsibility stirs within him a mixture of anxiety and determination, emotions that collide with his erstwhile aspiration for an unassuming life. In a poignant turn of introspection, Akira reclaims his resolve. He recognizes that his profound bond with Medisvina necessitates his unwavering commitment to excel. He comprehends that her destiny, intricately interwoven with his own, hinges on his triumph. A pivotal moment arrives as Katya's voice resonates through the corridors of his thoughts. The princess, harbinger of his dual destiny, offers an alternative path, a retreat from the impending duel. Yet, albeit tempting, this route carries the specter of loss with it. Embracing his inner courage, Akira solemnly pledges his earnest endeavor to emerge victorious. This vow, etched with determination, solidifies his commitment to shield Medisvina from the precipice of an alternative fate. A mosaic of emotions illuminates the conversation as Akira's gaze intersects with Medisvina's tearful eyes. In this fleeting exchange, he discerns the shadowed contours of her past, recognizing the weight of her struggles. With a committed heart, he accepts responsibility for their shared predicament and, in an emotional declaration, lends his voice to Medisvina's vision of an egalitarian society. The culmination of this transformative exchange is an evocative portrait of emotional resonance. Akira's unswerving dedication to Medisvina's cause forges an unbreakable bond between them. His proclamation to stand by her side, unyielding in his commitment, resonates as a poignant testament to their shared journey. As Akira steps into the lecture hall, a palpable shift envelops the room. Whispers of his reputed prowess ripple through the air, with every gaze converging upon him. The mythic stature he has acquired precedes him, casting him as the embodiment of the Academy's legendary summoner. In the annals of Akira's saga, this juncture is a testament to his developing evolution, the inception of growth amidst a tapestry of challenges and aspirations. The corridors of destiny beckon, and as Akira steps forward, he embarks on a voyage destined to be etched into the chronicles of the Academy's lore. On the contrary, delving into the depths of intrigue, the first prince embarks on a meticulous investigation concerning Akira Rainford, unearthing a startling revelation. Akira is none other than the progeny of the elusive and infamous Carl Rainford, a figure shrouded in mystery and seclusion from the world's gaze. Curiosity fueling his quest for knowledge, the prince seeks counsel from his companion, Urmera, only to be met with a frustrating void of information. Her ignorance mirrors his own, leaving them to speculate on Akira's significance or lack thereof. Meanwhile, within the hallowed halls of the lecture auditorium, a palpable tension envelops Akira as he finds himself thrust into an unwavering spotlight. The lecturer commences the discourse by recounting a past duel and unveiling the roster of participants in the upcoming contest. Prominent figures emerge. Alistair Fonwell is poised at the forefront, followed by the capable Ani Breitling, with the composed Elisa Reagan occupying the middle ground. Anthony Green, the adept summoner, assumes the role of assistant captain, while the mantle of the genius summoner and team captain rests upon Akira Rainford. Upon the utterance of Akira's name, a wave of applause cascades through the audience, prompting him to rise from his seat, awkwardly assimilating the adulation and feigning a semblance of celebrity within this enigmatic realm. Meanwhile, in the shadows of intrigue, Kadia imparts a discreet tidbit to Metasfina, an insidious rumor now circulating, suggesting a connection beyond the professional realm between Akira and the summoner who brought him into the fold. A tale of intimacy and entwined destinies weave into the tapestry of whispers. A ritual of quantifying magical prowess unfolds within the Academy's hallowed halls. Amidst this communal act, Anthony's proficiency garners a notable elevation, his tally reaching an impressive 250 points. In stark contrast, the remaining trio falters, their performances falling short of expectations. A moment of anticipation arrives as the time draws nigh to assess Akira's reservoir of mana. Wrestling hesitantly, he eventually acquiesces, placing his mana upon the crystal apparatus, a representation of potential untapped. The collective breath of onlookers expects grandeur, envisioning a manifestation of gold or platinum-tier prowess. Alas, the outcome shatters such illusions, revealing a modest tally. Akira's mana registers at a mere 70, placing him at level 7, a revelation that resonates with both surprise and contemplation. In the dormitory, fellow students discuss the significance of a mere 70 mana, with one student asserting that it pales compared to the formidable 700. This debate reveals an underlying power dynamic, with one student urging calmness while suspecting foul play. Amidst their deliberation, a common stamp emerges as a key clue, setting the stage for an intricate plot to unravel. The central character, hidden behind a mask of seeming mediocrity, conceals their true strength, mirroring a complex narrative transcending mere fiction. Amidst the discourse, mentioning ranks is avoided, yet the prevailing sentiment is that their situation is far from golden, bronze, or iron standards. The naive princess, her fate intertwined with their struggles, faces a precarious position that threatens her very standing. As the conversation unfolds, the looming question becomes the fate of Elise and Mana, and the potential consequences of the princess's departure. Without her influential presence at court, their once assured place at the academy comes into jeopardy. The dialogue delves into the potential outcomes. Will there be a place for them, or perhaps a refuge within an esteemed institution? Two individuals share a more casual interaction in another corner of the dormitory. Anthony has already taken the lower bunk, a seemingly ordinary occurrence that contrasts with the weightier matters. Meanwhile, Elise and Mana's concerns deepen, their frustration and apprehension amplified by the possible departure of the princess. As the scene shifts, Akira and Anthony's encounter in the shared dorm room takes center stage. Their living arrangement comes about due to Anthony's lack of a roommate, leading to his relocation to Akira's quarters. Rainforn and Anthony's alliance emerges as they strategize, uniting against the formidable Demetrius to safeguard the princess from impending danger. In the halls of academia, the professors engaged in earnest discourse, their intellects weaving through the intricate strands of an extraordinary puzzle. The subject of their contemplation was a rarity, a crown electro whose upper limit defied convention, aligning itself with the enigmatic 4-digit realm. Adjacent to this enigma lay the platinum rant, its mana reservoir typically hovering around the 3,000 mark. The enigma began with the cryptic digits 00, transitioning abruptly to the enigmatic 7p, suggesting an intentional omission of the inaugural figure. Their scholarly minds ventured further, unraveling the veil of the arcane to reveal a 5-digit cipher, a magnitude that soared beyond the 10,000 threshold. Imbued within this esoteric numerical ballet lay a power that seemed to exude a sense of claustrophobic intensity, an enigmatic force that bore the hallmarks of a clandestine potency. Amidst the tapestry of conjecture, a consensus emerged, an intricate dance of reasoning and deduction. The veil of identity concealment was lifted, revealing its practical purpose. Amid their academic discourse, a disconcerting interruption unfolded. An agitated student barged into their midst, breathless and distressed, her cry for Mr. Alistair reverberating through the hallowed chamber. The professors pivoted, their queries piercing the frantic air. As her trembling voice steadied, she recounted her plea, a request to accompany her to witness a grievous spectacle. In a chamber adjacent, the tableau of turmoil unveiled itself. A comrade, Anthony, stood as the visceral embodiment of brutality, his once formidable frame now marred by broken limbs, contusions, and the specter of potential internal harm. Even with the potential aid of restorative magic, the prognosis was sad. A 3-week convalescence lingered on the horizon. The professors dissected the superficial diagnosis offered by another team, revealing the heinous truth. A member of their fold had fallen victim to a ruthless adversary's onslaught. The gravity of this revelation tugged at the seams of their collective resolve, challenging the sanctity of tomorrow's impending competition. A resolute suggestion was tendered, to forfeit the battle in the name of compassion, a plea underscored by genuine concern for Anthony's well-being. Yet a twist of fate unraveled as the students' retort danced upon mischievous lips. The decree of a prince held sway, demanding their unwavering participation. Shock rippled through the ranks, the cruelty of this decree starkly contrasting the bonds they shared. Within this tale of hardship and intrigue, echoes of identity and origin intertwined, casting shadows upon noble and sinister deeds. The dichotomy between the prince's ruthless command and the acts of kindness extended by the princess herself conjured questions of privilege and accountability. Could one's lineage justify such actions? Amidst the turmoil, Anthony's unwavering spirit stood resolute, his unyielding determination a testament to his inner fortitude. Despite the odds stacked against him, he chose the path of resilience, a tribute to the kindness bestowed upon him by the princess, and a dedication to his principles. Time elapsed, and the battlefield of destiny drew nigh. The pleas of Anthony's companions rang in his ears, each imploring him to reconsider the fervor of battle in light of his compromised state. In response, Anthony unveiled an artifact, a gift from a sage professor, a talisman designed to temper the ferocity of mana consumption, reducing it to a mere fraction. With this unique advantage, Anthony stood poised to face his imminent challenge. Yuki's journey in this new world has much more to come. Will he live his dream simple life, despite unfortunately being overpowered? Well, this segment of the video ends here. If you liked this story and want us to continue, please leave a comment down below with the name Akira. Next part, please. Subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.